Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by Big Fish Charter Services in Elginak. Experience a world-class muskie fishery on Lake St. Clair for predator fishing or a once-in-a-lifetime trip on the St. Clair River to tangle with a prehistoric lake sturgeon at Big Fish Charter Services. It's all about big fish. And by
quick and easy setup. Silent operation. 360-degree shooting. Triops 360, no limitations.
Hey everybody, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Well, it's hard to believe we're into September now. The early goose season is underway, and depending on when you're watching this, we're literally days away from the small game opener, which means there's a lot of good early fall fishing and late summer fishing happening right now, and we're going to do a little bit of that on this week's show. We're going to start out of the port of Frankfort, and we're going to do some fishing on the big water, but that trip is really more about who we're fishing with. We were out with Bob Garner, Kathy Beitler, Jay Neff, and a lot of great people on the boat. You won't want to miss that story. And then our own Gabe Van Warmer is going to take us to East Traverse Bay and do a little jigging for lake trout with his two kids. It's really a neat day on the water. And then we're going to stop in with the DNR on this week's show and look at some of the areas in our state that were affected by EHD and some of the research that's going on to kind of combat that disease and kind of help rebound that deer population. There's lots of good stuff happening on this week's show. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan Out of Doors. Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or visit greenstonefcs.com. By G5 Outdoors, makers of the Quest and Prime bows. Manufactured and designed in Memphis, Michigan, G5 offers archery bows, broadheads, and accessories. On the web at g5outdoors.com. By Country Smokehouse, offering a variety of meat products. Country Smokehouse is located 3 miles south of I-69 on M53, just south of Imlay City. Country Smokehouse is a meat processor, a butcher, and a destination for sportsmen.
We all have one, that perfect spot, a special place we go to smooth out the ripples of the day. Our perfect spot is calling. Our perfect spot is Pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
Hey, well, we are here in one of my favorite towns here in the great state of Michigan, and that is Frankfort. And we're doing something. This is the second year in a row we've done it. It's going to be, I think, kind of an annual thing. We're going out with good friend Bob Garner, and then Bob is kind of responsible for filling the boat. And today we've got just a boatload of fun people, including some names that you would know. Kathy Beitler from the old Michigan Outdoors series, and Jay Neff, Mort Neff's son, as well as some folks from WKAR. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get on the water right now. Haven't even talked to the captain yet, Captain Steve, to find out what the fishing's been like. But whether we catch fish or not, it's going to be a great day on the water. It is always great to hit the water with folks you have not seen in a while. And as we all settled in on the My High today, it didn't take long for old Garner to start thinking about food.
Hey, you gotta pack a lunch. If you're not packing a lunch, there's something wrong with you.
Pre-fishing trip snack.
You can pack a 38, you can pack a 9mm, but you better pack a lunch.
Well, Bob is one of the more fun people you will ever find on a fishing boat. And on this trip with Captain Steve Martin, we're starting to make this kind of an annual thing here in the port of Frankfort. Garner fills the boat with some friends of the show, and we hit the water for an evening trip. And if you have not fished out of Frankfort before, let me just say the view is tremendous. The motor's powered down, and Steve and first mate Joel were hard at work.
We're gonna set up for a few lake trout and see how the lake trout fishing is. It's been really good out of Frankfort, so we're gonna try to get some lake trout, and then as sun starts going down, we're gonna switch over and try to catch some kings. We're fishing bottom for lake trout right now. The water just rolled over yesterday, so we have cold water here, but they should bite anyway. They did this morning, so we'll see if we can find them.
And what's holding these lake trout up here?
We have a reef here, and we suspect now that since the gobies have come on so strong that the lake trout are in here feeding on the gobies, and also alewives, but primarily gobies.
And how's the king fishing?
Kingfish has been a little bit slow, but it seems like every day more and more are showing up. So we're hopeful that, in the next couple of days here we'll have some pretty decent kingfish.
And how long will the fishing be good here in Frankfort?
Normally, it's good until mid-September. By mid-September, most of the mature fish are running the river, and then then it takes. Normally, there's a little dead spell, and then they can start catching 2- and 3-year-old kings and steelhead as the water cools for the fall. That a lot of times here, that's November, late October, November.
Kathy was on the board, and she is always a lot of fun to hear her tell some stories of the old days. Kathy, what was it like being stuck between Fred Trost and Bob Garner? Tell me a little bit about that.
How do you say stuck? Define stuck, I guess. Actually, it was a great time. It was a wonderful time, career-wise. Learned a lot, had a lot of fun. When I look back over my career, I think that was some of the best years of my life, really. Yeah, it was. We had fun, even though we worked hard and long hours, but it still was fun because, number one, we were doing what we enjoyed. We enjoyed the fishing, the hunting, the cooking, of course, everything that we enjoyed. So how can you go wrong with that?
As we picked away at the fish, I had Bob explain just who we had on board today and why they have been such a big part of his life.
We got really lucky. We have got with us the son of Mr. Michigan Outdoors, the guy that started all, Mort Neff. Jay Neff is with us, and Jay was Mort's only son, and always fun to, we came to the reunion show.
Yeah.
And we did that, we did the special. We had a great time. He remembers his father so fondly, as do all of us who were around when the show was on. And then a person that nobody ever saw, because he was behind the scenes except for a fishing trip or two, was our director, and Tim Zico from WKAR. For, 5 or 6 years he directed the show. I learned a lot of television from Tim Zico, and he's still at WKAR, and he agreed to come fishing with us too. So, of course, Kathy Beitler's here, and I had the job of actually eating all the recipes that Kathy prepared for all those years on Michigan Outdoors, and I only remember 2 that I didn't care for, but it was a recipe. It wasn't Kathy. Kathy's a very talented person, and I think really when you take a look at Kathy's legacy, you're really going to find that Kathy set a pattern for women being an integral part of Michigan Outdoors.
Well, Bob is correct. From Kathy to Abby Burke, Claudia Hitchcock, Kelly Gotch, and of course Jenny Olson, the female presence on the show has only made it better year after year. Sun's getting a little lower in the sky. We're going to fish for a little bit more here, and then I think we're going to swap out equipment, head out a little deeper and try to catch some kings. We're fishing for lake trout right now, so everything's kind of low on the bottom. And we got our 3 guests, the most important people on the boat. We got them all fished, so kind of a slow night, but that seems to be, from what the guys say on the radio, that's pretty typical what's happening, at least for tonight. But Steve and Joel are doing their part. They're swapping baits, changing everything, and if there's fish to be found, they'll find them. So it's a beautiful night on Lake Michigan with a lot of good friends. What do you say, young man? You got a king on there?
I don't know, it's pulling pretty hard. Right here at sunset, so it's a good chance. Wow. I'm gonna be here a long time.
I am not sure what it is about spending time on the water. Food just tastes better, jokes are funnier, and friendships seem stronger than ever. Our trip today really spawned out of a Michigan Out of Doors reunion show that we taped earlier this year. We looked back on the history of our TV show and tried to highlight all the folks that have made Michigan Out of Doors and Michigan Outdoors such a special place. It really takes a lot of folks to make this all happen. Tim represented just how crucial PBS has been in the journey. Kathy and Bob not only represent a vital time frame of the show, but just how each on-camera person brings their own perspective and unique color to the show. Jane F. brings us back to memories of the man who started it all, Morton F., his father and creator of Michigan Outdoors. On the boat today, the stories were flying of hunting and fishing trips of years gone by and of trips yet to be taken. I once heard someone say that they are the best version of themselves when they're in the woods or on the water. And you know, there must be something to that, because every trip afield seems to make memories you just don't want to forget. Today was no different. We were done for the day, and we didn't fill the cooler, but we did have a great time and caught some nice fish. Overall, well, it was about as good as it gets. Thanks to all involved, and I can't wait to see who is on board next year here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Each summer I like to take my kids out fishing for something they've never fished for before. This summer I wanted to take them deep water jigging up near Traverse City.
Well, it's a beautiful day today. I've got my two sons, Reed and Drake, and we're gonna go do some lake trout jigging. It's a gorgeous day, and I think we're gonna be able to run wherever we want today. And what better way to spend your summer vacation than up in the Traverse City area? And we're going out of the Elk Rapids Port. So Elk Lake, Elk Rapids, we're heading out right now onto East Grand Traverse Bay. Should be fun.
The Ranger made short work of the 17-mile run out to the humps. The kids were itching to fish and got to work right away. With the proper electronics, this type of fishing is really quite easy to do.
Well, we just pulled out here, and what we're looking for is we're looking for deep water and a big hump that comes up. You know, you want shallow water adjacent to deep water. And so what we've done here is we've found 300 feet of water is about 150, 200 yards away. And right on top here, it's almost 90 feet. We've got some jigs, we've got some jig and spoons. We might tip it with a little lake herring. But either way, we're gonna drop down here and see if anything's here and try to look on our graph and watch our graph and see if we can't jig up a laker.
You wanna net them, Drake?
Here you go.
Come here.
Ooh, it's a big one.
What do you think, Reed?
It's fun. Whoa. I think he's big. Whoa. Sweet. Come on, Drake. Got him. Woo.
Come on, lift him in.
Got it. Cool.
What do you think?
That's awesome.
There he is. That's your first lake trout, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool, jigging him up off the bottom. 100 foot of water. And that is a nice Grand Traverse Bay lake trout. We're gonna let this one go, okay?
Okay.
Well, for this lake trout jigging, it's pretty simple. We use heavy jigs, heavy spoons. This is a 3-ounce jig with just a paddle tail grub on the back, ripple shad. This one is just a bare spoon, and these jigging spoons are very heavy. This is about a 2.5 ounce. This is about a 3-ounce jig. So we're using very heavy stuff so that we can get down to the bottom very quickly, keep in contact with the bottom, feel where the bottom is, and then usually we'll jig up off the bottom a little ways to make sure that the Lakers can see your jig. But white is the ticket. Lakers love white.
Hold on.
Here, I'll help you. Did you get a bite? Yeah. They're in here. Look at this. Yeah, I can't see them yet. It's amazing how clear this water is. You just drop it to the bottom, bang the bottom a couple times, and then bring it off the bottom and jig it. Yeah, we're in almost 100 feet of water. Keep it tight, okay? Keep it tight. Reed, you gonna net this one? Yeah. Better put your rod down, drop it to the bottom, and let. Yeah,
Oh, there he is. Oh, there he is.
Yep. Net him. Net him. Oh. That's why he fought so well. That's why he fought so well.
Why?
He got hooked in the side. Oh, what do you think?
Awesome.
You like catching trout?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna put him right back, okay?
Okay.
We want to get him right back in the water. Here we go. Okay. What do you got?
I don't know. It's a fish.
big as yours?
No.
There it is.
Oh, I see it now. There he goes. Oh,
Came off?
he came off. He came off right as we could see it.
This fishing requires some way of anchoring over deep water. Using the big motor to slowly move over a hump until we saw a fish, we would stop and set the trolling motor to keep us exactly over the fish. Then it was just a matter of jigging up a laker.
What do you think?
It's fun. I think it's a big one.
How come you're breathing hard?
Oh, he's big, I think.
Keep it tight, Reed. Don't let it up or else it'll come off.
He's down there. Oh, dang it. He swam right. He swam right into it. Here's the fat one. Here, Drake. Whoa, good. There.
Look at that. Man, oh man. You were jigging that all yourself, weren't you? What happened?
I was jigging and all of a sudden I felt something like I was hitting the bottom a lot. Like it went, and then I set the hook and I got a fish.
That's a nice lake trout. Great fish.
This is a great way to introduce kids to jigging. On a hot day, you can break up your fishing with a refreshing dip in the water. After cooling off, it was right back to fishing.
We need a netter.
We need our all-star netter. Coming up. Awesome. Ooh, that's a pretty big one.
What a fun way to end the summer. If you get a chance, take a kid fishing. Show them the great fishing that's available in Michigan's outdoors.
There he goes.
Well, if you mention the disease EHD to many deer hunters in the south central part of the Lower Peninsula, you're going to see some eye rolls because in many parts of the state it has wiped out deer populations on a farm, in a county. So we recently sat down with the DNR to find out not so much what we can do to combat that disease, but what can we do as sportsmen and what really can the Department of Natural Resources do to help those populations rebound as quickly as possible.
You know, wildlife diseases have been getting a lot of attention lately, and one for deer hunters, obviously, that's been of great interest is EHD, or epizootic hemorrhagic disease. You know, we've had outbreaks off and on in Michigan for many years, but they've become much more frequent here within the last decade or so. 2012, in the summer, was the big outbreak for us. We had 14, 15 some thousand deer, you know, reported. We don't know exactly how many died, but it clearly was a big event, far beyond what we had seen before. And at that point, we made a decision to try and get a project underway to evaluate how deer recover from these outbreaks. And one of the challenges is they're very focused. It might just be a township or even smaller in size that these deer have a significant die-off in that small area. And typically, we can't monitor at that kind of scale. So we put our heads together with some other partners, Michigan State University. We got some financial support from Boone and Crockett Club, Safari Club International, worked with the Quantitative Wildlife Center at Michigan State, and designed a project to monitor deer in one of these heavy outbreak areas for 5 years. We're now just getting ready to start our third year of that project, monitoring at that site. We added an additional site that had not been affected by EHD at all, so we can have a comparison to see how deer are behaving in a more normal kind of situation. And actually, now that we have our first confirmed wild deer with chronic wasting disease in Michigan, the tools that we've been developing may be ones that we'll put in place there to try and monitor how that goes into the future.
Although there's little we can do as hunters to prevent EHD, a better understanding of how the deer population rebounds after an outbreak can help the DNR to better manage the deer herd. And that's what this project is designed to do. with volunteers playing a crucial role in the data collection process.
In 2012, when EHD had our largest outbreak in Michigan, one of the big concerns was some of these localized, severe population declines. So in the Maple River, a lot of folks were pulling dead deer off their farms and along the river there, and there was a noticeable mortality event that happened there. And one of the problems with this particular disease is that these outbreaks can happen in sort of a patchy way, and it's hard to really know what's going on at the deer management unit scale. So we want to monitor epizootic hemorrhagic disease at a scale that's relevant to the disease and where those mortalities occurred on the landscape. So we're developing this local tool to estimate deer populations along the Maple River and a little bit further out from the Maple River, along in those agricultural areas, to see if we see any difference on the landscape there relative to where we saw dead deer in that area. And then of course we have Cass River as sort of a control site where no EHD has been found in the past, and we have higher deer populations, and we can really test out our tool and some of our predictions about where deer are going to be along the river. All right, well, we're out here counting some deer tonight, and we actually spotted an observation of a deer in this wheat field over here. We took down the time, the odometer, the waypoint of the location of along the transect here, and it was one male, so we wrote that down, and then we made sure to get a distance with the rangefinder here and an angle, and that's going to give us some good information about how far that deer away was from the transect. So we also put down that it was walking and it was in wheat, and yeah, we'll just continue on with the transect here and see if we can see some more deer here soon.
So far, the data does show an increase in deer numbers at the Maple River site. However, the deer numbers remain lower within a mile or two of the river relative to the surrounding farmland. The exact opposite is the case at the Cass River, where the deer numbers are higher along the river, which is normally the case. The DNR plans to continue monitoring these two sites for the next several years to see if and when the deer numbers will return to normal along the Maple River.
So looking forward, we committed again to multiple years of monitoring after this EHD outbreak. We'll have this summer and 2 additional years at Maple River. We'll continue the Cass River site as well. And ultimately, with that many years of monitoring, we should get a better handle on how long it really seems to take for deer populations to recover from these EHD outbreaks. Now with regard to chronic wasting disease, as we try and manage this situation moving forward, it would be really helpful to monitor how deer respond in this case as well. So we're looking very seriously at implementing surveys just like we've been talking about at Cass River and Maple River right in Meridian Township. Still planning it out right now. It's a very different place with all the homes and the different kinds of traffic patterns, vehicles driving through, but it looks like that might be something we'd be able to do. We've gotten great help and support from volunteers at the 2 existing sites. We could use it again in Meridian, so if folks out there are interested in coming out, whether it's they want to learn more about EHD or chronic wasting disease, or sometimes you might just think it's fun to drive around and look for deer in the evening. We've got all the equipment and everything that people could use, so they can get in contact with me. Let me know if you're interested, which of the sites, Maple River, Cass River, or Meridian Township, and then I'll forward your information along to the right person to help coordinate at that location.
The surveys are just about wrapped up this year, but if you live in or near one of these areas and would like to help out next year, make sure you send Brent an email. Special thanks to Brent and Sonia for updating us on the latest EHD news.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching Michigan Out of Doors this week. Now if you missed part of this week's show or you want to see something again, you can always check us out online at MichiganOutofDoorsTV.com. We have full episodes of the show there every week. We're also on YouTube, and if you do the Facebook thing, we're on there pretty much almost every day letting you know what's going on as we're traveling this great state, trying to bring you a brand new episode of Michigan Out of Doors every week of the year. And we're going to have a lot of new stuff coming over the next couple of weeks because we got the goose opener. We're also going to be out on some bear hunts here in the early season, and of course small game is kicking up, and we're just a couple of weeks away from the bow opener, so lots happening right now in the great state of Michigan. Make sure you're getting out there and enjoying this time of the year, and if we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by the Michigan chapters of Safari Club International. For over 40 years, SCI has been protecting hunters' rights and promoting wildlife conservation here in Michigan and around the world. SCI chapter locations can be found on the web at firstformichigan.org. By Rosie Brothers, located in Dryden, Michigan, Rosie Brothers has been serving Michigan for over 40 years. Specializing in outdoor needs, Rosie Brothers features Kubota tractors and equipment for use in farm, home, or commercial needs. On the web at rosiebrosinc.com. By Propane, Clean American Energy. Propane retailers promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas energy in homes, farms, and businesses across our great state. Learn more at usemichiganpropane.com. By Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises of Munising, exploring Lake Superior's Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore with its sandstone cliffs, caves, waterfalls, and lighthouses. Pictured Rocks Boat Cruises on the web at picturedrocks.com. Closed captioning is provided by the Michigan Propane Gas Association, Clean American Energy. Propane realtors promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas to outdoor enthusiasts across our great state.
Across the sea on a peninsula, when I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. From the Keweenaw down to St. Joe, Kalamazoo, east to Monroe, to St. Marie and back again. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. If I should die across the sea on a peninsula.